is so incredible. It's so incredible. So it's such a pleasure, one, to collaborate with her, and I'm so excited to hear more of her story and get deeper with her as well. And the things that we have on offer are going to be really potent, and I can't wait to share them with you all.
Thanks, Simba. I appreciate your introduction. I almost completely forgot to record this, which would have been sub-ideal if we went through the whole thing and then couldn't send the replay to everyone that signed up. Thank you for registering, by the way, and being on this call. I'm super excited. And I just want to, thank you for all those beautiful words, Simba. I appreciate you. It's been a joy and a pleasure getting to know you. And thank you for seeing me and the work that I've done in this space. And I want to introduce to you guys that don't know Simba, my new friend Simba. Have you ever had an experience when you meet someone and you're just genuinely impressed by their existence? That is how I feel about Simba. To see the events that he's created and the way he just fills a room, and like the energy and fire and enthusiasm, fire that he brings to a space, because he is also an incredible fire performer. My experience with Simba is just this experience of just incredible joy and vitality and deep, deep knowledge. Like, I don't think many people get to experience the kind of energy and fire and playfulness and freedom and health that Simba exudes from his body without having that deep knowledge and awareness these days, because our society and like paradigm that we're existing in is not really set up for full thriving and vitality. So it takes someone being aware and like learning these things and then implementing them and integrating them into their life to exist in the way that Simba does. So, you know, he's a coach, he fills retreats, he's an incredible human. How many times, we've only really met properly once in person at the opening of Focal House, my new business, I think. But I've seen you perform in spaces and not said hi to you before. Just like watching your Instagram content, like the way you go into a shopping center and speak about seed oils and educate people in these spaces, is something that inspires me and brings me back to my roots of being so passionate about health and nutrition, founded in actual truth rather than propaganda. So thank you for being a human that speaks into these things and shares from that space, shares from truth and integrity. That is a little bit about Simba from my perspective. So tonight, I'm just trying to kind of admit humans while presenting, but that's all good. Tonight's flow, we're going to be sharing our personal stories in our language, which may involve swearing. I'm autistic, so I have quite a blunt, interesting way of communicating. I just wanted to ask your permission. Is that okay with you if we share in our language, maybe, unconventionally, about our journeys? So just put a yes in the chat if that's okay with you. And we're also going to be sharing our key takeaways, how we have healed and how you can too. And at the end, I wanted to let you all know there will be some of you who will want to work deeper with us, and we will be sharing an opportunity to do that at the end. I wanted to ask your permission first. Is that okay with you? Please let us know in the chat if that's okay with you. This is a free call, so we're going to jam pack it with incredible information, but some of you will want more depth, and so we will be sharing an opportunity for that, and we wanted to ask your permission first for that. And then now I want to hand over to Simba.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your beautiful words. And I just want to say, absolute pleasure to be collaborating with you. And I'm excited to be sharing my story and also listening to yours, Jess. All right. So my road has been an interesting one. I'm 33 this year. I'm currently a holistic health coach, movement coach. I teach mindfulness as well. And I'm a professional fire artist, which means I dance around with fiery things. And I am obsessed with movement. So it's all encompassing. And my journey hasn't been pretty. I could say that I want to start off with the earlier parts of my journey to start off with, to give you guys a base and an idea. So the earlier parts of my childhood and teen, I was pretty active. I was a sporty kid. I was tall. I would, love playing out in nature and connecting with nature. I grew up in a Sufi and a Sikh household, which means that we were privy to meditation and prayer consistently. And, there was one thing I really noticed that stood out to me on my health journey. when I was young, when I was a kid, I would always crash energetically. My energy would always be up and down like a yo-yo. And I was really curious about this. I remember one time I asked my mom, I'm like, Mom, is it normal to be tired when you wake up in the morning? And bless her soul, I think she probably experienced the same thing because she thought it was generally normal. She was like, yeah, like you're tired, you're just waking up. It's fine to be really groggy for the first hour. So I took it as just normality. I'm like, all right, in the mornings, you are tired and you slowly open up your system and you awaken, right? But now if I was hearing that same information, being where I'm at, being someone who is in the wellness space, that coaches, that holds workshops, retreats, and talks about energy systems a lot scientifically and also metaphysically, I would look at two things. I would look at the digestion, and then I would look at the rest and recovery the person is getting. So if you're waking up feeling tired in the morning, there's a really good chance that something that you're eating is causing it, or you're eating too late, or the practices around your food are really causing you to turn on all the factories at night and not feel or be rested. Then I would look at the sleep. Are we sleeping enough? Are we connecting to deeper forms of rest? Is the body being nourished in those aspects? Because these are really important questions to be asking. I would not blow it off as this is normal. So for most of my early childhood and most of my teens, I was waking up like I was being hit by a train. I was really tired, right? But then eventually my energy systems would turn on and I would feel a bit better and I would keep going and things would be fine. I would get moving, which is a beautiful way of detoxifying the body, until it happened again the next day. So that was the one thing that I really noticed in my early childhood and my teens. Apart from that, I felt respectively fairly healthy, fairly well. I was a pretty bright and I was a pretty joyful kind of kid. You can see a couple of photos there when I was young. So the first two top ones was when I was like 7 and 8. I played cricket and basketball and I was really athletic and I was probably like the fastest runner at school. So that kind of gives you where my base was kind of at when I was a kid. And, I had a really good family life as well. And then that photo at the bottom is actually me in year 12. So I was 17 then and I gotten into bodybuilding. You can see I was already like 95 kilos and pretty jacked. So something did change and I'm going to get into that in the next slide. So at age 16, I got into the gym and I got into weights really heavily because something inside of me felt weak and I wanted to be strong. And I didn't have the sophistication or the knowledge or the awareness to understand why I felt weak and why I wanted to build my physical form so much. And only like in the last like 7 or 8, 9 years, going deeper into my psyche, into my emotional states, I've really uncovered that. And there was a serious desire to be big and strong externally. And when you're feeling weak and you're feeling, like your self-worth is diminished, and I think a lot of children feel this, a lot of kids as we're growing up, we feel like our self-worth is diminished because there's a lot of comparison that goes on. And the fastest way as a male, as a kid that was tall, was a brick and mortar way of becoming strong. Putting the mortar and putting the bricks, getting my physical external form big, so I felt like I was seen, to felt like I was being able to connect with other people and I was worth something. I was worth more because I was bigger, right? So these are the things that my ideas in my mind were connecting to when I was at that age. So I was a high-performing athlete. I played state basketball, state cricket. I was doing strongman competitions. I came second in Melbourne's Strongest Man, and I came top 10 in an international bodybuilding competition. And I was really hammering, I was trying to eat healthy, but at the same time, I was also going out every weekend and I was training really hard and I was fatiguing myself. And I had this constant onflow of external hard, what I would consider hard movements. And my life was very hard orientated, very yang orientated. If you were to look at the yin and yang, yin being more softness and rest and recovery, more feminine nature, I was activating the yang parts of myself, which was the really hard, strong, let's do this, let's build, let's create, let's penetrate the world with our masculine energy. So moving on, I was still waking up feeling damn tired in these states. And I was finishing my university studies. I studied engineering and construction management at uni. And I was working in corporate and I was training and I was building myself up. And, I was, drinking on weekends, and I was eating lots and lots of protein, greens and sweet potato, but I would eat out probably once a day as well. And I remember my first symptoms that something was wrong with my health started hitting in my early 20s. And this started with my gut. And as Hippocrates said 2,000 years ago, it all begins in your gut. Illness and disease begins in your gut. The gut is the epicenter of your body. It's at the center of your body. I wouldn't say it's the second brain. I would say it's the first brain. I believe the vagus nerve is a highway communication which connects the brain and the gut together. And if there is something wrong with the entire body, you will feel it first in your gut, which is also, narrative that goes to the gut feeling of things. So I started feeling an onset of something was wrong in my gut. I was getting gnawing, burning, aching in my upper digestive tract. And, I was starting to get a little bit worried, and I went through the doctors and did all the Western ringer of medicine. And I got referred back to that I had light levels of colitis and gastritis, which is inflammation of the colon and upper stomach. So next slide. So at age 23, it progressed because I didn't understand fully what needed to be done when I was experiencing these things. I thought I would go to the doctor, I would go see a specialist, a gut specialist. They would kind of know, I would figure it out, but they didn't really have many answers for me. I think when it comes to chronic inflammation, there's a real lack in understanding in Western medicine of how to treat it, apart from masking the symptoms rather than going to the root cause or figuring out what's happening with the entire human being. And at 23, I started developing more symptoms. I started getting I woke up one day with a sore wrist. Then I had a sore elbow. Then I had a sore knee. Then my spine was starting to feel sore, my breastbone, my chest bone. And this is where I went back to the doctor. Now I had pain in my upper stomach and my joints were getting inflamed. And I thought I was living a really healthy lifestyle, teaching people how to lift heavy things and how to eat lots of protein and hit their macros or their nutritional numbers so that they could put on size and be strong and be healthy just like me. But behind the scenes, I was actually hurting. My gut hurt, my joints hurt, and I was still experiencing crashing of energy. And I was wondering what the hell was going on, because here I am supposed to be an expert in this space of wellness and getting big and getting size. That was my idea of wellness back then, by the way, how you physically looked and how, your numbers on the weight page looked and how big your biceps were and how ripped your abs were. That was my gauge of wellness. And, come age 26, I remember the moment I got back from traveling. And before this, from the age 20 to 26, I was intermittent. I was having joint pain, gut pain, but I was managing. I was getting through it all. But come age 26, I remember the point where everything broke. Like everything really broke. And I got back from traveling, and the first day back in Melbourne, I'd spent like 3 months in Europe and the Middle East. And the first day I got back, everything broke. And that was the terminology that was moving through my mind. My entire contents of everything in my stomach, I'd woken up with it in my mouth, and every joint was inflamed, like there was a fire burning in in my kneecaps, in my spine, in my elbows, in my wrists. Everything was inflamed. And I remember thinking to myself, fuck, I've done it this time. Something is broken, something has happened. This isn't going to be one of those ones where, a few weeks and I go see the doctor and take something and I'm back to normal. This was something had really broken. And I remember waking up and being positive, being like, no, we got this. And I remember thinking to myself, it had all kind of clicked like nodes on a map. All the situations and all the memories of all the little pains from being a kid with fatigue, with my gut kind of being sore at 20, with my joints starting to hurt at 21, and then having this roller coaster ride of feeling good, then feeling crap, then feeling good, then feeling crap, it all come back to me. And bang, I had this moment of, wow, I'd seen this whole picture taking shape and I did nothing about it. Or I tried to do stuff about it, I just didn't know what to do about it. And this is where I felt really disenfranchised with all the medical advice I'd been given up to that stage. And I was in the wellness space at this point. I was teaching wellness, I was teaching nutrition, and I was teaching bodybuilding and movement as like a PT and like a coach with around nutrition and macros and stuff. And I had all these things coming to me. So my whole framework, all the stability under my feet kind of gave way, because suddenly I had no idea what I was standing on, what was truth and what was fiction. And I remember, having symptoms. I had sore joints. I had super slow transit times in the toilet. I had lower pain, upper pain, reflux, gastritis. All my wrists and joints were sore. I was having brain fog. And because of this, I was entering states of feeling isolated, feeling hopeless, feeling like my life had changed forever for the negative. And I was never going to get better, right? Day after day of pain. This state lasted probably for about 2.5 years. And for the first 3 months, I did not want to believe that I was experiencing what I was experiencing. Every day felt like torture. It felt like thorns were sticking in my flesh. Every moment that I was living was dreadfully painful. And I had no idea how I was going to get out of this or go back to normal life or training, going out with my friends to eat, going to like nightclubs and dancing and drinking alcohol, because that's what I love to do. I still love to do those things. Right. And I'm not saying like going out and drinking alcohol, once in a while is bad. Right. You can manage if you're robust and resilient. Once in a while, if you know within yourself and you have the deeper awareness of how things work. I don't personally drink. I might have, a glass of wine every now and then now, but very rarely. But it came to this point where, I was 26 and I felt hopeless, and I felt like my world was falling apart, and how I knew and how I was going to operate was falling apart. So, I got diagnosed with multiple things, from IBS to colitis to reactive arthritis to ankylosing spondylitis, which are all autoimmune diseases, right? And only when I was hitting 28 did I really start overcoming this. It took 2.5 years of like diving deep into the shadows of myself, diving deep into deep research, way further than the mainstream could ever take me, seeking out people and practices and modalities and experts that would never have been on my radar, would have never have made me the person I am today if I did not seek those things out and have this happen for me, right? So that's a big key. All of this happened for me. None of this happened to me. And that was one of the biggest perspective shifts that I'm going to go into. So if we go next slide. So as I said, at 26, the depth of my healing journey had begun. I started to really question everything. I started to question, who am I? What am I doing? What is my journey? What is normal? What is health? What is vitality? Why are people able to do this and I'm not able to do this? Why are people able to eat out and drink, which I couldn't anymore at all? Why are people able to like lift heavy weights and not do any mobility and feel fine? I started really questioning everything, and I started to realize how much I needed to trust myself and take my own responsibility for myself as a unique individual, and how much I need to take responsibility for my own health. And this is where, some really deep research and learning, connecting with some of the best wellness practitioners in the world. And it took me, again, traveling to learn from them and sit in intensives in Germany, in Portugal, in Turkey, all these places to learn from some of the best people and broaden my awareness. So just to recap, I was now, 26 to 28, going through the darkest night of my soul that I've ever experienced, and having to take responsibility. Couldn't rely on what was being told to me by Western medicine, which was, we have no idea what the hell is going on. Here are some labels to put on your symptoms to give you some feeling like we know what we're talking about. For example, you have pain in your joints, arthritis. You have pain in your stomach, gastritis, right? Like, these are ways of describing symptoms. And it wasn't overly useful, even though I think that, labeling a set or subset of symptoms can be helpful. In this place, it wasn't, because I didn't want to wear a badge that I had something wrong with me. And this is where I'm going to get into some really powerful advice that I got given when I was in the deepest part of my dark night of my soul's journey, which it felt like at that time, was don't give your information a permanent label and badge. It's just a message from yourself, right? And it can be hard to digest because there's people that have been experiencing pain, inflammation, whether it be joint pain, back pain, headaches, migraines, that would say, why would myself give me this painful message wrapped in constant suffering? And my answer to you is because it loves you so much that it wants you to connect to the deepest level of service that you can fathom, so you can not only help yourself, help the people you love, help the community, and help the broader world, because this is where the deepest learning comes from. There's a saying that is so powerful, and it's pain quickens consciousness, which means that by going through and laying and sleeping and learning to love the dragon, right? Going into its den and learning to love it is where we gain, the deepest learnings of consciousness and awareness to be able to make our lives better, to be able to thrive. And another one is you cannot heal what you do not feel. Going into the depth of the feeling is how you heal, not only yourself, but those around you. And remember, we're all interlinked. What we heal within ourselves, we heal for those that are literally just standing next to us at some level, or those we interact with, or those that we love. So I'm going to go into the key takeaways. And these are some of the key takeaways that I've taken from my journey, right? And the first one is, we've all heard it, mind, body, and spirit. What does that mean, right? It means this in my words: we are psychobiological spiritual beings. This means that you cannot isolate a human being into biological. It's not just a mechanical being. You are psycho, which means mental, mind, emotion. You are spiritual, which means you're connected and interconnected with more than just yourself. And you are biological, which means you're material, right? And a lot of Western medicine looks at biological. It does look at some psycho, but it completely misses spiritual. So learning, that was one of my biggest takeaways, because nothing that I could do was a one fixed bullet thing mechanically. I could not fix myself mechanically. No one could. It was much deeper than that. The next one is, my symptoms were a biofeedback loop of my body saying no to how I was physically living. My spiritual being saying no to the path I was walking in terms of the service and work I was moving towards. So, a lot of what I was doing was feeding the corporate machine. I was making lots of money, but absent of my heart. Nothing wrong with lots of money, but when it's absent of service and heart, there's a fracture between your spiritual and physical. And it's fracturing between the psycho, biological, spiritual being. When you fracture one part, the alarm bells are going to be ringing. And your body's going to be telling you, hey, we need to fix this because you ain't living to where you should be, because you got work to do on this planet, on this earth. So the next one is, don't over-identify or label your symptoms. They can help, but flip the script. You have inflammation, you have pain, you're going through suffering, but don't give yourself a permanent badge that you have whatever cluster of symptoms forever. That's really powerful advice. Take responsibility for your health. It's not the medical system's responsibility. You know the best. If you can connect to your gut and your heart, the intelligence is there waiting for you. And this is what I want to teach people, how to do this, to connect to your gut and heart and deeply listen. When you overly focus on one element, you miss the entire point. Once again, psychobiological, spiritual. And this next part is really important. There's 4 steps: wake up, clean up, grow up, and show up. If you're familiar with Ken Wilber's work, who's an American philosopher, you will know this, right? Wake up. The alarm bell will come ringing as a cue for you to wake up. And when you wake up, it's time to clean up. That means cleaning up your physical health, your emotional health, your mental health, your spiritual practices to connect more deeply with yourself and the others around you, so that you can grow up and become a fully fledged tree and show up fully in the world how you want to. The next is midi pidi, which is a Sikh terminology that I learned when I was a kid. Midi means balancing the temporal existence, so our worldly existence. So, being strong in our physical bodies, right? Being able to provide, being able to be resilient, robust, all these things, but connecting it with pidi, which is the spiritual knowledge, and combining temporal strength with spiritual knowledge together. The next is create a conducive landscape for healing and thriving, from waking up to sleep. And how do we do this? This is what we're going to be offering at the end of this, is a way of connecting really deeply to a whole picture and a landscape of healing. And for me, it was connecting deeply to the better ways of eating, what I was eating, how I was moving, how I was resting, how I was playing, and connecting to deeper levels of service and purpose. Once again, it was very multifaceted, but all these little strings came together to create this whole beautiful, perfect storm for healing. Not one thing on its own could have done it, right? And I can tell you now that I am freaking vital. I am oozing with vitality right now, and I just can't wait to hold it back and share some of this with you guys. So yeah, the practices around nutrition, physical practice, connecting more deeply to joy and love, which I believe to be the totem which resides at the very top. Everything that we do in this lifetime in some form or another, whether through distortion or purity, is our attempt at connecting to more love and more joy. Everything that we do in this lifetime is a desire to connect with more love and more joy. That is our totem at the top. So if we can facilitate more love and more joy in our lives, we can really induce healing, which is the vibration of love and joy. And a big one is learning to regulate my nervous system through spiritual practices and breathing and rest. So to conclude, the journey has been moved from one to the next, and a lot of the practices are singular, they're multifaceted, and I want to get into much more depth with all this, and I can't wait. I'm excited to, but Jessie is ready to also share her beautiful story, which I cannot wait to hear. So hopefully you guys were able to take away some understanding and knowledge from that, and understanding that how deeply interlinked and connected things were, how deeply interwoven and interconnected things are, because it is the only way we can heal is by understanding the links between all the things. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing, Simba. It was really, I got to know a lot more about you and your journey and your depth of knowledge. I love that I so often create things that I myself desire or want to benefit from. So I'm so excited to bring so much of my key takeaways in healing in my own journey, but to continue to learn and deepen my practices through the things that you have learned and gained, which are different. And there's so much to learn. And as humans, we just get to continue to learn and deepen and grow on this amazing journey. So thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate you. So my healing journey. So going back to my early childhood, I had a pretty rough start. I contracted meningococcal, which is a really, really intense illness that basically eats the brain. People end up with no limbs, or a lot of people die when they contract meningococcal. So I got that at 18 months old. My parents took me to the doctor, and the doctor didn't know what was going on. I'd gone from this very lively young child who was walking around, walking up and down stairs, talking in sentences, and then I was just kind of sitting lifeless in the corner. My parents took me to our GP, and he was about to send us home and didn't really know what was going on, but then he just said, wait a second, I just want to check one thing. And he lifted up the back of my shirt and saw the thumbnail of the rash that starts to spread with meningococcal. And he asked my dad where the car was parked, and Dad said, oh, just around the corner. He said, all right, no time to explain, no time for an ambulance, meet me at the hospital, I'll meet you there, just get there. So they did a lumbar puncture and were breaking vial after vial of penicillin into my spine, which saved my life. But at that time, they didn't really understand about how antibiotics kill the good flora in your gut. Remember, Simba was talking about, everything begins in the gut. So I had my gut completely wiped out by these life-saving antibiotics, but they didn't replenish my gut flora with good bacteria. So I spent 6 months in intensive care, which was, at that incredibly important time in a child's development, was obviously very intense for me. My parents were only able to visit in a hazmat suit. They didn't know if I was ever going to walk and talk again. My parents talk about, you know, months into this journey, there was a picture of a frog on the wall in the hospital, and I pointed at it and said frog one day, and everyone was like, you know, crying and overcome with joy and hope that I would talk again. So I actually had to regrow half my brain, which was only possible because I was under the age of 3. The brain is very brain has lots of plasticity under that age, and so, you know, if it had happened later in life, I would have been like permanently fucked basically. But because I was under 3, I was able to regrow my brain. I had to relearn how to walk and talk. But I also did spend, after that time, a lot of my childhood up to the age of like 4 or 5 in hospital, like for months and months at a time, with incredibly severe asthma and allergies. And as a kid and teenager, my diet was trash, you know, Milo, heaps and heaps of Milo, which is just straight sugar basically, with loads of commercial milk, Wheat Bix, pasta, chips, loads of sugar, you know, like fruit roll-ups and like those Yogo things, and just all this shit that supermarkets sell us, and, you know, people don't really understand the damage that it does at that time, and many people still don't. Microwave food, which is just basically devoid of all nutrients. I was vegetarian for 10 years. I was not having enough quality protein or healthy fats, you know, having Macca's heaps, alcohol a lot in my late teenage years and early 20s. I was off school for months with severe tonsillitis and Epstein-Barr virus. Yeah, it was not a good time. So in my early 20s, that photo, 2011, of me in the like rainbow bikini, I was 38 kilos at that time. I was very malabsorbent, extremely deficient in a bunch of important nutrients, not absorbing my food properly, very underweight. I was having severe panic attacks multiple times a week, had incredibly intense anxiety and depression. I actually like developed agoraphobia. I didn't really leave my house much at all for 18 months. Had severe gut health challenges like Simba. I was reacting to most foods. My tongue would swell up in my mouth. My lips would swell up. I was very bloated. I had a lot of incredible, like severe gut pain. I was hospitalized multiple times with severe vomiting bugs. And I also had PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, and endometriosis. I would have cyst rupture on my ovaries and be hospitalized for that. And over this time, I visited the doctor a bunch of times. I visited dietitians, nutritionists, and something that I fairly consistently heard was food has nothing to do with your symptoms. Take antidepressants and sleeping pills. It's all in your head. Let me know in the chat if anyone resonates with that, if they've been told food has nothing to do with the symptoms and to take medications, or it's all in your head, your symptoms, and experienced, doctors not really knowing what to do. That other photo was taken a few months ago with me in the blue swimsuit now. I'm a lot more healthy, vital. You can see from my face there's actual joy and vitality in my physical appearance, and energetically, I'm not rail thin. Things are looking a lot better. So I'll dive into that a little bit more. So in 2012, my healing journey, I started Googling because I was sick of the doctor saying, you know, we don't know what to do. Food has nothing to do with it. It's all in your head. So I started Googling. I'm so grateful for the internet, by the way. I'm not sure if you, Simba, have experienced this, but like the information that we have access to with the age of the internet is unreal. We don't just have to rely on doctors or a library, which obviously libraries are freaking amazing as well. But just like the access that we have to information. So I started Googling how to heal myself, how to heal my gut. I also did actually start studying natural medicine and nutrition at a college in Brisbane. I read my first personal development book, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, and started actually working on self-love instead of, you know, this self-hate and just, you know, thinking of the world as a loveless, unsafe place and just such low self-worth and really hating on myself. And started like doing mirror work, telling myself that I love myself and working on the energetics as well. Started eating actual whole foods instead of just processed shit from the supermarket. Started introducing animal fats, grass-fed organic animal products, butter, ghee, making bone broth from scratch, which was so healing and nourishing for my gut. I came across the work of Weston A. Price. He's a dentist, the Weston A. Price Foundation, and that and Nourishing Traditions by Sally Fallon were like major staples in terms of my ancestral nutrition food journey. So that was life-changing, like the importance of organics, the importance of 100% grass-fed meats and animal fats instead of canola oil and seed oils and vegetable oils and all that shit that both Simba and I, you know, rant about fairly regularly, very, very passionate about getting seed oils out of the diet and getting whole foods and nourishing fats and meats into the diet. Started practicing yoga at that time, drinking spring water instead of tap water. Singing mantras as well has been a huge part of my journey. Like the joy of singing and the healing through music, the medicine of music, and dancing more. I've always loved to dance, but yeah, really starting to explore that expression a lot more. So it was a multifaceted journey that I started to go on. In 2014, I started replacing toxic household and personal care products, i.e. perfume, deodorant, shampoo, conditioner, cleaning products, toothpaste, etc., that have so many endocrine disrupting, which is hormone disrupting, toxic, carcinogenic products that should not be used. Like, and our skin is our largest organ of our body, and anything that goes on our skin or we breathe into our lungs is going to affect our physical health. So, you know, as I mentioned, I was experiencing such intense asthma and allergies as a child that I spent a lot of time in hospital. I'm very, very sensitive. And so I used to wake up and literally like sneeze 200 times before breakfast, have such puffy, itchy eyes, puffy, inflamed face and skin. And so really reducing the toxic load in my personal environment started to make a massive difference as well. And so I started using essential oils, like actual pure just plants, either steam distilled or cold pressed, not the Kmart or other synthetic shit, because that's just as bad as perfumes and all of that other stuff. Started using natural plant-based products that were better for the environment, better for my own health, and started using a natural medicine cabinet to support my health. So these were the three main like staple blends that I started with. Zen Jest on the right is one that just changed my life for my gut health. As I mentioned, I was experiencing severe pain and bloating and reacting to so many foods. And so it's a blend that includes herbs traditionally used in Ayurveda to support the gut. It has peppermint, fennel, which is so amazing for just calming and spasms and that kind of thing, caraway, anise, cardamom, ginger, and coriander. So Ayurvedic traditional herbs. And I would do a clockwise stomach massage. Really important that it's clockwise, because that's the way your digestive tract actually runs. If you do anti-clockwise, you're going to back yourself up. Does that make sense? You want to be moving it the way your digestive system runs. So clockwise stomach massage or a drop in water daily or even multiple times a day just was life-changing for my gut health, made such a difference. So if you have any type of gut symptoms and you're interested in that, please reach out. I can help you get that drop shipped at wholesale prices. Another one I started using back in 2014 was On Guard Protective Immune Blend. Potent immune support, loaded with natural antiviral, antibacterial. And the thing about essential oils is they have hundreds of natural compounds. So instead of a pharmaceutical, which also pharmaceuticals can be absolutely life-saving and necessary, but for long-term preventative health, it just is not my first choice. I want to turn to something natural so that when I need a pharmaceutical product, it actually works and I haven't built up intense resistance to it, and then it doesn't work when I really need it, like, you know, when I had meningococcal, for example. But essential oils have hundreds of natural compounds, so it's actually very difficult to create resistance to something as chemically complex as essential oils. So it has wild orange, clove, cinnamon, eucalyptus, and rosemary. Very complex, very, very powerful. And I put this on the soles of my feet, which have large pores, so then it penetrates my skin and enters my bloodstream. The amazing thing about essential oils is they're lipid soluble. So we have cells inside our body, and essential oils can actually penetrate the cell membrane and attack viruses, which very few things in medicine can do. So it works on bacteria, which is outside the cell, but it also can penetrate your cell and work on viruses inside the cell, which is groundbreaking. There's so much science and research now coming out to support the use and efficacy of essential oils around the world. It's amazing. And then, as I mentioned, I had horrific like panic attacks, anxiety, struggled to leave the house. I was diagnosed with autism or high functioning Asperger's when I was 23. And so this balanced grounding blend really deeply supported me for grounding, anxiety, overwhelm, just like that deep peace and calming in my nervous system, in my body, so that I could actually start showing up in my life. So it has spruce, hoe wood, frankincense, blue tansy, and blue chamomile, diluted in fractionated coconut oil. And it can also be used in place of cologne or perfume, which is amazing as well. So you're getting rid of the toxicity and actually using something that smells amazing, but deeply supports you physically, emotionally, energetically. Like, plants have been a massive life-changing tool that I've turned to. So that's Balance, the grounding blend. So today I am vital, I am thriving, I am joyful. This photo was taken this weekend. Jack and I went to celebrate a beautiful friend of ours' wedding. You know, I'm swimming in the ocean and creeks and waterfalls. I sing mantras in a band. I run a song circle regularly. I love to dance. I love to attend festivals. I run incredible events with my partner and on my own as well. And we have epic community gatherings on the land, in our home, at Focal House. We eat delicious, nutritious, nourishing food. We also have room for, you know, going out and celebrating. You know, if I'm at a wedding, I'm going to have some wedding cake, that kind of thing. But it's a much better balance actually for me than when I first started, and I was obsessed with everything being gluten-free, organic, gluten-free, sugar-free, like 100% organic, all these things. I really like to go like 90% and then have that room for celebration and enjoy. Like at Easter time, you know, we've got kids, we do buy the organic, dairy-free, like quality chocolate instead of the shit from the supermarket, but we still have that room for joy. I'm definitely the fittest I've ever been. I'm doing weight and strength training 3 times a week plus power yoga. I have private one-on-one yoga sessions and then do my own practice on my own. I'm currently at a 4-day Vedic meditation training. So I'm about to start including that in my every single day practice, twice a day, a 20-minute Vedic meditation where I have my own personal mantra. So I'm really excited about that. Drink spring water. I read a lot, and I also read fiction. Like I read magical fantasy fiction books because that brings me joy, as well as right now I'm reading what is that book? The Queen's Code by Alison Armstrong. Friggin' amazing for relationships. So I love to learn. I have this growth mindset of personal development, how I want to show up for myself in my relationship with my beautiful partner Jack, for my children. We have 4 boys between us. So yeah, I also love to meditate. I love breath work. I love spending time on the land. Just like I sit out on my back deck or in our sunken lounge overlooking the gum trees and bird watch. I'm into bird watching now because apparently I'm elderly. You know, I need to get a bird book and some binoculars. That's where I'm at in my life. I saw a ringneck parrot the other day, which has like a beautiful turquoise back with cobalt blue wings. And I was just like, the level of elation about new bird on the land was high. You know, community is a big part of my life as well. That fun, play, adventure, travel. What else do I put down there? Oh yes, and I run a thriving business from home, doing what I love, and I've done that since 2014. Essential oils are my primary business. I was mentioning them before. So yeah, life is bloody good. I was driving up to Noosa today with Jack. We were at this wedding all weekend, and like I feel awesome. I don't drink either generally. Like I have maybe 1 or 2 glasses of red wine a year. I had a few margaritas and a few red wines on the weekend, not too many, like 2 or 3 on Saturday and Sunday. But I feel great today. Like I woke up, was driving the car up to Noosa early this morning, singing songs in the car, just like, how good is life? I love my life. It is freaking awesome. And I want that for everyone. So I'm really, really excited because Simba and I have put together an incredible program called the Longevity Blueprint. I'm just going to move this up here because it's annoying me. And it's about igniting your furnace of wellness. It's 8 weeks of vitality infused masterclasses and programming hosted by myself and Simba. So I want to introduce you guys to this because it's just life-changing work. I honestly, like, if I could have had access to this information when I was in so much pain for so many years of my life, like it was a long time that I was a very unwell person. I was unwell as a kid. I was unwell through my teenage and young adult life. You know, it's taken me a long time to reach this level of vitality and peace and joy and like actual friggin' life force. And I want everyone to have access to that. So that's why Simba and I have partnered together to create this longevity blueprint. I'll pass over to you, Simba.
Yeah, thanks so much for diving into the depth of your soul and journey. I know, you know, parts of those journeys are quite vulnerable to share, and just to know more about you and understand more about your journey and how much you've gone through and how you've been able to become one so vital, but able to do so much with your life. I know how much you do and how potent you are in so many different spaces. So it's such a pleasure just to hear that.
Thanks, Simba.
So I'm so excited about this. This is going to be 8 weeks of pure integrated knowledge from 20 years worth of our experience combined of wellness, the body, the psyche, spirituality, movement, the gut, digestion, all the things. How can we lay the foundations for real health? What if you were able to connect to more enlivening states of daily energy and make fatigue a faint memory of the past? Like, how can we really level up our health practices and the way we engage in this world? What if we could create a body that was truly robust, all the way from its digestive capabilities to resilient and earthquake-proof joints? What if we could move our bodies without having pain, right? This is really important to me. This is something that is really deeply connected to my journey of arthritis and how to overcome it. What if you were supported to walk down a real pathway that ignites your own furnace of wellness? And I talk about wellness being a furnace because once it's lit, it gets hotter and hotter and hotter. And the momentum that it creates, once you're able to stack the aspects of your health when it comes to movement, nutrition, play, rest, and connection with purpose and self, the amount of heat that you can generate from these practices are lifelong. They go forever, right? So a fire when switched on that eradicates inflammation, chews through weight, and creates a potent wellspring of vitality. This is what this program is offering.
So good. Thanks, Simba. And one of the things I'm most excited about with this program that has made the biggest difference in my personal healing journey is accountability and deep support. In the beginning, I found it so difficult to, like I think I said this earlier, just be out on my own, trying to figure it out. And then like even knowing what I need to do, but like, shit, this is kind of hard to like keep up without other humans that are on the same wavelength supporting and keeping me accountable, So that's going to be a big part of it. We are two friends who once had their flames of vitality severely diminished that now live with that same flame burning with more potency than ever. Like Simba was talking about, that flame that keeps growing hotter and hotter. And like the longevity blueprint, this is about lifelong tools. So the information, the tools that you're going to receive in this 8 weeks, well, you can walk with those for the rest of your life. Like I want to be one of those old people that is just like fucking frothing and just sending it. Like I'm fit, I'm strong, I still, like right now I do this thing where I do breaststroke up and down the shore of Cromwell Alley. Like I am turning, my binoculars and bird watching and my breaststroke. That's the shit I want to be doing when I'm old. I want to be on the land, in the garden, cooking nutritious food, like still practicing yoga, still singing songs. I want to have long gray hair, like braided, be wearing a velvet kimono, be living off the land with my friends, just like sending it hard. So yes. Simba and I, as we've mentioned, we have that combined with, you love that vision, Simba? Is that a vision?
Oh, I love that vision. I can see it. It's happening.
Yeah, solid. I can see you as an old man, just like fucking super fit still, looking as amazing as you do right now. Just like, that gray hair going on, but like our faces, we've got that vital radiance that stays with us because
the
of
life we deserve for ourselves. Let's bring it.
100%. So our 20 years in the wellness space, coaching, facilitating, and advocating for commercial wellness reform. Some of you may not know that back in, when was that, 2013, I started a petition against the Heart Foundation to stop them promoting margarine and processed foods as heart healthy. I ended up on a current affair, Studio 10, the morning show, Sunrise, debating the CEO on ABC Radio National. Like this kind of got global attention. So I have been advocating for commercial wellness reform for quite some time. I'm going to continue doing that. I am an activist in the wellness space. I currently have a petition to stop the health star rating system, which is just a massive crock of shit that is damaging to the health of our nation, and also especially to kids. Like I feel like they really target kids in those things. So if you want to sign that petition, it's in the link in my Instagram bio. You can follow me at Jessie_Reimers. But that's like, I'm getting passionate on a little side tangent there, but that's how passionate I am about wellness. I want wellness reform. I want people to have access to information based on truth and ancestral like key ingredients so that we may thrive forever. So we want to invite you on a transformative 8-week journey of reconnecting with our inner fires of wellness so that we may grasp life fully in all of its loving and joyful brilliance. Like, this is how good it gets to be. I want everyone to experience that. I know Simba does too. That's when he was talking before about the service piece. He wasn't thriving initially because he didn't have the service piece. He might have been making good money, but that service wasn't in alignment. This program that we have created has both of us on service, on path with the change and the difference that we want to make in the world. Like, it means a lot to us personally. And what we will be sharing is the information, practices, and perspectives we wish we learnt 10 years ago. We look forward to sitting at the top of Mount Vitality with you. It's a fucking good spot, Mount Vitality, like that top bit, that ridge, overlooking that with the view, solid.
Yeah, that ridge is really something that's beautiful. And, you know, I want to carve out as many seats that I can for as many people as I can to sit on top of that mountain and create such a lively, thriving community of beautiful humans that are spreading the message of vitality, longevity, health, and what it really means and what pathway you really have to walk to connect to all these deep states that are so accessible to everybody. And I want to really eradicate the shadows that have been placed on the health industry and the wellness industry and the things that we do and the perspectives that we take. So some of these program inclusions, there's a lot, and I'm going to read them out because there's so many beautiful things that are going to be incorporated in this that are going to be good, that are going to really enliven that wellspring within you. And as I said earlier in my story, it's not about a single mechanical, biological way of interpreting health. This program is inclusively hitting every single element of that health with deep education, support, and accountability, and a step-by-step process to get there. So there's going to be 8 weeks of vitality-infused masterclasses. Every week, we're going to be holding one. It's going to be live on Zoom, and it's going to be recorded. So if you can't make it, it will still be there. I'll be doing a weekly Vital 30 online morning session, which is my philosophy of how to kickstart your morning with a very succinct way of encountering movement, meditation, connection with gratitude, and a whole bunch of other practices that I've condensed into 30 minutes, which is super, super activating, that I'm so excited to share. It's almost like a hidden secret, but I want to get it out there to as many people as I can. I want to be sharing that. There's going to be nutrition by design education, which is a deep dive into understanding the fundamentals of nutrition to thrive physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and also reduce inflammation that you may be experiencing, whether it be in your joints, in your gut, whether it be lower states of depression or anxiety or angst or any mental state, right? How can we reduce this by nutrition? And how is this unique to you and your situation? Then we're going to be also diving into my deep philosophy of human architecture, which means how do we design the physical body to be its most optimal, to be robust. It's my method of physical practice for longevity and earthquaking your joints. This is really close to my heart. How can our joints be earthquake proof so that we cannot be rocked? We are robust, we are resilient. This is what I've spent so much of my life dedicated to, and I want to share this deeply with you guys. There's going to be a Healthy Habits 101 education, which is a comprehensive list of habits and how to incorporate them in your life. I'm going to be giving away my Vitality Code book, which is my philosophy of becoming vital. Jessie is going to be delivering some beautiful, epic recipes that are super simple but super delicious, that are just not inclusive of any crap that is inflammatory. And she's also going to be being the custodian of household toxicity education, which I know she's so passionate about because, you know, the whole space that we live in our houses can be traps for toxicity that can cause hormone disruption, asthma, headaches, and there's toxins everywhere. But if we are smart about how we approach our household and living situation, we can really thrive, right? And this can be like small nuances that really hold us back sometimes. And we're going to be diving into some mindfulness and spirituality development practices so we can connect more deeply with self and universal awareness. and they're simple but powerful, and they've been passed on through my Sikh and Sufi lineage. They're like old school practices of connecting with deeper awareness with self, gut, heart, and the great divine. And we're going to be diving into some supplementation, herbal support around longevity, weight loss, immune health, and things that I wish I knew and I was taking 10 years ago, which, you know, that would have made my journey much easier, especially when it comes to supporting immunity. And more importantly than anything else is how powerful we're going to create this community of daily support. The community that we're going to create is going to really reinvigorate and create a furnace of wellness within ourselves, but within the people around us that are walking the same path. So support and accountability is going to be absolutely huge in this program. It's going to be 2 months. That's 8 weeks. It's a long time, and it's deeply inclusive with so many aspects. So I'm so excited for that.
So good. So breakdown of each week. Week 1 and 2 is nutrition by design. We will enter the 8 weeks spearheaded with nutrition by design, an introduction into ancestral eating. You know, I think if we all just went back to what our great grandparents ate, which was either grown in the ground or moved around on the land, we'd be a lot better off. And also, importantly, the energetics around food, not only what to eat, but all the nuances around how we should approach food. These first 3 weeks will also be infused with our powerful goal setting framework, which is designed for success. This is really, really powerful stuff. If you have a vision of where you're going and steps towards it, it becomes really possible to hit your goals. Week 3 and 4 is all about the joy code, which is just like, it just lights me up so much teaching this stuff alongside Simba. The most powerful healing and restorative force known to man and woman is connecting to deeper levels of joy and love. These 2 weeks will deep dive into uncovering play, social, the heart, and nuanced habits to activate incredible levels of vitality within our lives, just for all humans. So week 5 and 6 is around life force. We will enter education and practices around cultivating that life force, the energy, healing our joints, and creating deep body earthquake resilience. I love this. This is terminology from Simba, earthquake resilience, by broadening and deepening our awareness with nuanced physical practices and embodiment techniques. This is Simba's like jam. He just absolutely froths this stuff. So I'm super excited for it. We will learn how to awaken the center axis and combine the power of hard and soft and enliven parts of ourselves that have lay dormant. And so all of these physical practices that will be connected to how we approach our day-to-day living. I'm so excited for this. I just feel like I'm going to be on this journey with you guys, like transforming and growing and healing even more. So week 7 and 8 are detox weeks. We will conclude the 8-week blueprint by understanding our home and living environment in greater depth, the hidden inflammation, hormone disruption, and toxicity traps that Simba mentioned that affect our health, coupled with ways of implementing powerful hacks, habits, and practices to consistently and effectively detox our system. So you can see how this is an incredibly holistic, like we're really fitting in all the pieces of the puzzle, but we will keep it very, very simple and achievable. Just like, here's what we're going to do. Here's the steps. Let's do it together. You're supported, you're accountable, you have this thriving community of people holding you and reminding you of where we're going and how we're going to get there. It's not going to be hectic, complicated, overwhelming. It's going to be simple and achievable.
Amazing. I can't see that screen on my little phone.
I can read it out. It's all good. Yeah. So I just wanted to ask you guys a few questions, if that's all right. And I just want you to drop in and really think for a moment. What would it mean to you to have the furnace of vitality really burning in your life? To feel vital, joyful, thriving, and deeply alive? I just want you to think about that for a moment. Like, are you where you want to be with feeling vital, joyful, thriving, and deeply alive? And also, what does it look like if you decide to make zero change and just keep going as you are? Just take a moment to really feel into that. What does it look like to just stay where you are? And what would it mean to you to have the furnace of vitality really burning in your life? A few more questions. Is your digestion and gut health currently thriving? Like, is it really where you want it to be? Are you feeling full of energy and refreshed? Do you have the level of fitness you currently desire? And are you at the weight that has you feeling your best and healthiest? Are you feeling grounded, calm, peaceful, and present, and feeling good about your daily practices plus connected to joy consistently? Is that something that you currently have? Or if you have it, are you wanting to deepen that even more? For me, like that's why I'm at a Vedic meditation training right now, because I want to deepen my practice. I want to feel even more grounded, calm, peaceful, and present, and connected to my daily practices and my joy. That's what I'm showing up for. If there are areas to be improved upon, we have something very special and deeply supportive for you.
So this is the easy part. And, there's so much that we're including in these 8 weeks, and they're going to be really step-by-step, handheld, really connected to each element with us. We're going to be on the journey with you. The program is really a low ticket item. It's $497 plus GST. It's jam-packed with value, but we're going to be offering an even sweeter deal. And to celebrate our launch for the next 3 days, we're going to be giving it away for $397. Remember, this is 8 weeks. It's going into every element. It is an absolute steal, and I can't wait to join you there. We wanted to make this affordable so people could really jump on it and join us, because this is something that we're deeply passionate about. Of course, we're making some money from it, but it is about our passion, and we want as many people to be able to afford it and jump on it and connect with Vitality and sit there on those beautiful carved stone seats at the top of Mount Vitality with us as we dive deep into each aspect and facet of how to become more healthy and really lay those foundations that are going to be lifelong. So $397 for the next 3 days if you use the code VitalMe, and there's going to be a link that Jessie's going to share. So sign up, join on it, because I really want to work with you, and together me and Jessie want to really make deep, impactful change.
100%. So I've just put the link to join the program in the chat. Remember that price of $397 is only available for the next 3 days, and you need to put in the code VitalMe in caps. It has like little access code for that price. So make sure when you go on, don't just like put your details on, make sure you use the code. You can only get that price with the code. Luke just said, thought this was going to be $1,000 plus program, super affordable for the value in it. 100% it is. Like, we really, Simba and I chatted about the price point we wanted and the fact that we wanted people to have access to that information. And honestly, this program is worth a shitload more than what we're offering it for. All the information, all of our experience, the time and energy and value that we're putting into it. Like, we're really, really showing up for you guys, because we want you to thrive. We want you to have this longevity blueprint. This is a lifelong blueprint that will support you and your loved ones and the people in your life, for forevermore. So I'm so passionate about people having this information and returning to their roots, like returning to that deep knowledge within themselves that has been lost in this modern society. So I really want to thank you, Simba, for sharing your story, for showing up on this call. And I want to thank all of the participants here that have taken the time out of their evening to come and listen to us, to come and listen to our stories, and to consider what they want in their life and for their own vitality and for their loved ones. So yeah, thank you so much. I've shared the link if you want to join the Longevity Blueprint. We are super excited. Anything you want to add, Simba?
I just wanted to thank you as well for showing up so vulnerably and being part of the collaboration with me, because this is really deep, important work that we're doing. And I'm so excited to create a deeper and bigger community that we already have created, but even a vaster community with something that is so affordable, where people can jump on board and be really supported on their journey and be connected to the work that we've been doing and dedicating our lives to. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you to all the participants that I've been listening and joining in, and I really can't wait to see you at the freaking top of Mount Vitality.
100%. So someone asked, program sounds great. Will you be able to access the content without Facebook? We will be doing live Zooms and then sending out the recordings if you can't jump on live. By the way, if you are on live, it's always way more potent because we get to, ask questions and be connected and just be in there together. But we will send them out via email. The Facebook support group is for daily accountability, so it really does help to have that. Luke says, keen, who's going to be jumping into this with me? Yeah, I'm super excited. It's going to be freaking awesome to just be together and be on this journey, like side by side, just celebrating life, creating more joy, creating that furnace of vitality. It's going to be absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and I'm going to hold you guys accountable for some juicy stuff.
100%. I feel that. I am looking forward to learning more from you, Simba. Well, I want to thank you guys so much. I know you have, lots of things to do in your life. We're going to stop the recording here. I'll be emailing out the replay and some more information as well. Oh, it starts on the Monday, the 5th of June. So yeah, it's 17th of April now. So Monday, the 5th of June is when the 8 weeks will be starting. But just remember that $100 off, that $397 price is only available for the next 3 days. So jump on it because that's a massive saving. It's such an affordable price. So yeah, buy now and then begin the 8 weeks with us Monday, the 5th of June. All the information is in that link, which I will share again in the chat right now so you can check it out. Yeah, thank you all so much.
Thanks so much, guys.